Worldlet. This is Vocab Lesson 2. The packet that you have should include pages 7 through 10, as well as context lesson 143 through 148. All right. Now, as I said, you don't need to do the context, structure, sound, or dictionary definition for each one, but as you can see, I mark it up. All right. Mark up this page. There, maybe you can see. Okay. I'm not going to grade that portion, but it'll certainly help you in your understanding and your ability to pick out contextual clues. As we go through, I'm going to remind you of the different ways that we find context clues. All right. Sometimes we'll get a direct synonym right behind the word in the form of an appositive. Sometimes we'll get an opposite meaning, and we'll see some opposite type words in there, some negatives like not or unlike. All right, and those are clues rather to let us know, okay, we're looking for the opposite of this meaning of this word. Okay. I'll point out some others as we go. Or sometimes we're given examples, and that's going to come up in one of these. All right. So I go through these articles, or these sentences are really quite good. Not only do you get information about the vocabulary words, but you get extra information about, well, these are some history lessons, so it's kind of good. Number one, allegory is a noun. And we see from the first line when it says, people still tell this story. So we know it has something to do with story, because then in the next sentence we also see, if this tale. So we know it has something to do with story. But it's more than that. It says, if this tale were an allegory, Crockett would represent, and that's the key word, represent, or another word for represent is symbolize. Okay? Crockett would symbolize the heroic attitude of someone willing to fight to the last for freedom. Okay? There are political allegories, and there are religious allegories. Religious allegories that you may be familiar with would be, for instance, the Chronicles of Narnia, okay, where there is underlying symbolism throughout the entire story. We all know Aslan represents Jesus, okay, symbolizes Jesus. That is an allegory, okay. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings, that's also an allegory, okay. A political allegory would be Animal Farm. All the characters in that novel represent individuals important and involved in the Russian Revolution. Okay, so number two, protagonist is a noun. And here we get another way of saying protagonist. All right, and he's Crockett was one of the protagonists at the Alamo. As William Travis's second in command, he, Crockett, was a principal player. See, we get another word, another phrase for protagonist, a principal player. Okay. Number three, incongruous is an adjective. And here we get an example. There's a key word in here, too, that helps me understand, but there's examples here. To many observers, Davy Crockett's presence in the U.S. House of Representatives seemed incongruous. Now here's why. Here's the example. His backwoods clothes and colorful speech, here's my key word, did not conform. Okay? Did not match up. It's incongruous. What we would imagine as a state representative, okay, that image did not match up with this woodsman dressed in buckskin and using some very colorful language. Okay? So incongruous, adjective. Number 4, terse, is also an adjective. And here we get examples again. Davy Crockett was not a naturally terse speaker. Oh, we have examples as well as opposite, because we have that not. He's not terse. Well, what was he instead? His speeches were full of rambling anecdotes or stories, digressions, and jokes. All right? So the opposite of rambling anecdotes, digressions, and jokes is terse, which would probably mean then straight to the point, right? Number 5, prologue, is a noun. All right? And there are two things in this sentence that help me. Boone's first attempt, all right, that first attempt, that's kind of a clue here, to colonize Kentucky in 1773 was the prologue. It's first. It's the prologue to the successful colonization of the region in the years that followed. Okay? So the prologue comes first and things follow it. All right? And the prologue kind of gives you, sets you up for what you could expect in those years that follow. Okay? That's a noun. Veracity is also a noun. And here we get another way of saying veracity. Okay? Settlers and American Indian groups fought with great ferocity in conflicts such as the battle for Boone's Fort, Boonesboro. Neither side asked for nor showed mercy. That's what veracity is. Neither expecting mercy nor giving mercy. Okay? That's the intensity. Conjecture. Conjecture is a noun or a verb. You can conjecture or you can make a conjecture. Okay? Now in mythology, we conjecture quite a bit because it's so old. Mythology is old. We can only guess about the different cultures' mythology. We can only make conjectures. Okay? But let's take a look at this sentence. The biographies of Boone and Crockett are forced to make conjectures, and here's why. When hard evidence about what these men actually did is lacking. Okay? So conjecture is a guess based on what you do know, but because there's a lack of hard evidence, we can't say for a fact. So a conjecture is basically a guess or to guess. Despicable, that A-B-L-E ending, A-B-L-E, I-B-L-E, it still makes it an adjective. All right? Those words that suffix is an adjective suffix. Two words kind of give it away. Daniel Boone had only scorn. Okay, that means hatred, all right, frustration, for the lawyers and politicians who declared his titles to the land in Kentucky invalid. He regarded them and their underhanded practices as despicable. The base word in there, despise, okay, worthy of scorn, worthy of being hated because they practiced underhanded means to get what they wanted, all right? Underhanded methods to get what they wanted. A misanthrope, I want to spend some time on this one. This is a noun, a person noun. Misanthrope, the way that this is, that you find out the definition is by way of an adjective clause. I'm emphasizing that because we're going to be studying clauses in grammar. All right, so I want you to recognize this is one of the ways that you can find contextual clues. Let's read the sentence. Some of the pioneers were probably misanthropes. That's my independent clause. That's my sentence. I could stop there and we'd be fine. Okay, but the writer of this book wanted to tell you what a misanthrope was. So what he did, he attached an adjective clause that describes misanthropes. Who preferred, who is my subject, preferred is my verb, that's how I know it's a clause, who preferred the loneliness of the backwoods to the company of people. Okay? So a misanthrope is a person who wants to doesn't like to be around other people. Okay, a hermit type doesn't like mankind, so wants to stay away from them. Okay, and number 10, dissolute. Dissolute is an adjective. And there are a couple of phrases that help me out here. It was tempting for people living on the frontier to fall into dissolute ways of living because many of the ethical constraints, another word for ethical constraints, laws, rules, that people in urban societies accept, like the laws of the land, no stealing, no killing another person's livestock or something. All right, these are ethical constraints. They were not accepted out in the frontier, and because the law wasn't in place, people became dissolute. All right. And that's what the last part of it says, absent on the frontier. So these ethical constraints, people fell into really sinful behavior, unethical behavior, because they had no rules. All right. Now think about this. If you didn't have any rules, okay, if you had no dress code rules, what would you be wearing today? Okay. If you weren't told, oh, yeah, somebody wants to buy something, I think. If you weren't told not to, and that there were rules against cheating, would you be cheating? Okay. See, these absence of rules, we by nature want to sin. It's in our nature. We're born sinful, and so we're going to. That's our default. And if there's no rules, then we're going to go back into our default. Okay. Thanks be to God that we have Jesus to rescue us. Okay. Anyway, those are the 10 words. For those of you who are not familiar with this, on page 143 through 148, this is an article that recaps the words from Lesson 1 and Lesson 2, all right, in one article. And basically it is a big old lesson on reading contextual clues. So once again, you're going to watch for synonyms of the word, which either show up as a positives or little phrases, or it could even be an adjective clause. You can, you'll find the opposite meaning to help you find out the real meaning of the word. You'll be given, oh, what do they like to do? They like to give examples, okay? Here's the word, what was it? Incongruous. Here's some examples of why this is incongruous, why this does not match up, okay? They also like to give you similes, all right? If in the article they use a vocab word as part of a simile, you can bet your bottom dollar that they're going to ask about it in exercise 2. Mark this section up. Highlight what you think contextual clues are. Outguess the writer of this lesson, all right? Now, for exercise 1, all you'll need to do is write a synonym. For exercise 2, all you need to do is pick the correct A, B, C, D. Do they have E? No. Yeah, E. Pick the best choice. All right. Now, I want you to try every single one of them. Make a guess. All right. But you have questions, then ask me. But I want you to try first. Give a concerted effort. All right. To figure it out, to use the context clues. All right? Talk to you later.